I used to be that girl who was very obsessed about money. I wanted to be so rich that I became so obsessed, learning everything I could about money. Maybe it's because my parents were teachers, so we were like your average family. So I never really wanted to be like my parents. I wanted to be that girl who stood out in the family, had money and all that. And I was so obsessed to the point that I was always talking to my friends about money, like savings, investment. Now they had no choice but to become influenced. Now they are taking their savings and investments seriously. So I was talking too much about money that I decided to come on YouTube to start talking more about money. Like now, I do not want to be restricted to talking to only one or two of my friends. I wanted everybody to hear what I wanted to say about money. I even got a keychain, a money bag, because I was so obsessed about money. That is how interesting it has been. But lately, I've been feeling like I don't really know what to talk about anymore. Maybe I've talked too much about money that I really don't have anything anymore to say. So in my course of being on this channel, I've talked so much about several things, but always related to money because you are told you need to niche down, you need to do this and that. But I'm a girl who cares about personal growth. I'm a girl who cares about everything surrounding you being a better version of yourself. Not necessarily only about money, but maybe because I was so obsessed about making money that it felt more natural talking about going to put my money in these savings, treasury bills, mutual funds. So over time I just became that girl who knew much about money and talked a lot about money. Even when I work in the finance industry, I don't work as an investment banker that will say that okay, I know so much about money or what everybody is doing to help them grow their money. I just know what I have learned about growing my money and the things I've tried. So I always just talk about those ones. But like I said, I feel like I don't really know what to talk about anymore. And if you've noticed, for the past 2-3 weeks, I've not really been so consistent, to the extent that I'm even posting videos that are like very old on my channel. I just reposted them because I felt they had values that are still legit today to share. So I just decided to post it just so that it does not feel like I'm not consistent on YouTube. But being that I have always talked about several versions of money, I've talked about how to survive on 100k salary. I've talked about how I've grown my money from 0 to 50 million naira and all that. And all those things are quite interesting. But then it feels like, who am I really talking to? Like, aside from being that I'm a 9 to 5er, sometimes I feel like I still don't know who I am talking to. Maybe that was what gave somebody an audacity to come to my comment section to say that I should talk about something else, that I should not talk about what I don't know, I should not talk about money. To be honest with you, I felt very hot when I heard that statement, or that's when I saw that comment. I just blocked the person and moved on. But then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I'm still feeling bad about that comment. I don't know if it is because he said it felt like it was the truth that he was saying, or the fact that it felt like I really don't know what to talk about money anymore. But then that comment really got to me, that it made me to start questioning whether should I really continue this money talk that I'm always talking about. So it has now been a good excuse for me to be burnt out that I have not created content for the longest time, coupled with the fact that for the most part I have always paid an editor to edit my videos, because I felt like if the things I'm talking about are not the most interesting stuff, I can compensate with the edits that are done on my videos, because I felt like it was a whole waste of my time focusing on editing my videos when I can give it to somebody to focus to edit it. But then that was also beginning to take a toll on me, because I was spending money when I'm not yet making money on YouTube. So everything just felt like it was not working. My watch time that was already close to 3,000 all of a sudden went to less than 1,500. So it just felt like, what am I really doing on this YouTube? I'm just spending money but not making any money out of it. Somebody will say it's a long-term investment, but that still does not take away from the fact that you'll be feeling bad that you're spending this money without making money. Another thing is that I feel like I don't really know what to talk about anymore. Maybe because of the way that I have structured my YouTube, that I'm always very serious when I'm talking, but then I'm not a very serious person. So it feels forced whenever I'm making these videos, and the fact that I have to set up my background, I have to set up this and this and this. But before I finish doing all those things, the vibe for me to talk about what I wanted to talk about in the first place just goes out the window. So I don't always get the right vibe. I'm just trying to, it now sounds very robotic. As you can see, I'm currently in the office, so I just felt, let me just make this video while I'm still thinking about it, because I've been thinking about it for the longest time, but then keep waiting for the perfect background for me to talk about it, keep waiting for the perfect everything to talk about it, and yet I've still not talked about it. So I just decided, since I'm in the office, the lighting is good, why don't I talk about it? So here we are, me talking about what I've always wanted to talk about. Let's not even talk about the fact that I'm always comparing myself to a lot of the finance YouTubers on this platform. Guys, like, it's a very serious issue, because maybe because I want to be successful so bad, I just don't want to talk about what I'm interested in. I also want to make money from what I'm interested in talking about, and giving value to people while still making money from it. So I have for the longest time wanted to copy every single finance YouTuber out there, wanting to make videos like they make it. I'll check their scripts, I'll check the way they are saying the things they are saying. So a whole lot of the time I felt like I was not enough, because all these people are successful. You see the likes of Nisha, the likes of what's it called, I will teach you to be rich. All those people are big YouTubers, but then here I am, a small tiny fish in the big pond, comparing myself to them. But because I wanted to be successful so bad, I felt like I had a lot to learn from them. But then having a lot to learn from them naturally translated to me mostly copying some of the things or some of the ways they say what they are saying. So it never really comes out natural. Even I myself now, as the person who is passing the information, if I could feel it, I felt that my viewers can also feel that vibe that is going on there. So at some point I just got to a place where I'm like, what should I talk about? Should I really pivot? Like, even though I want to pivot, I still want to be in front of the camera. I still want to talk about this thing that I'm so interested in, but just don't know so much about it to talk about it. So I'm now thinking of, should I really just focus on my journey, sharing everything I'm doing, sharing, not necessarily giving you tips and tricks here and there, like point 1, point 2, point 3, which is just always a safe method of giving YouTube videos. So it now feels like all your videos are a list of this, stop, create an emergency fund, stop comparing yourself, stop doing this and that, all those things that are usually safer options to creating YouTube videos. But I was just like, should I really stop that? Because it is stressing me out, to be honest with you. It is stressing me out, and it is not working. Because if you see now, most of my views are like just 50 something, 80 something. Should I just keep going? Should I just re-strategize? Like, how else can I do this that it will make the average person to get value from whatever it is I'm saying? If you see my videos, I've done like how to survive 100k salary, how to things I stopped buying to do this and that. Things I stopped buying to do this and that really are my personal experience, so it was very easy to do that. But like, how many experience can I really share? I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to say here, especially when I talked about that how to survive 100k salary. While a lot of people watched that video because the views said something about the video, so it meant that a lot of people were in that phase of their life. But that is not my current reality, so it is not very natural to me. So I always keep trying to cater to everybody without really having a person in mind. Currently, I'm in a 9 to 5. I work 9 to 5 in the banking industry, but in the regulatory side of things. So if I were in the typical banking industry, maybe it would have been easier for me to get topics or things to talk about. But I'm in the regulatory side of things, which is not the usual, finance kind of talk, if you get the idea. But at the end of the day, I've just been having these feelings of, what should I do next? Should I stop? Should I continue? Should I pivot? But if there's anything I want to talk about, it's still about money. It's still about money. Like, I want to be rich, so I want to do everything I can to learn what I'm going to do to get rich. So guys, I just had to be vulnerable today because I've been feeling a certain type of way, but I don't just want my audience to be left hanging, not knowing what is really happening. But I want to create content, but I keep looking at all the things that does not matter, the perfect background, the perfect this, the perfect that, the perfect script, but then it's still not working. Like, what should I do? So I just thought to share this with you guys. If you've not seen me for some time, it's not because I don't value you guys. I really love you guys for even seeing value in me and joining my journey and all that. But I've just been having a lot of back and forth in my head that it has not been easy. So, what should I do? What type of videos will you love to watch from my page, especially when it comes to money, or maybe personal growth, self-development, career, traveling? I love to travel, guys. I love to travel. So just let me know in the comments if you watched up to this point. Thank you so much for listening to my rambling. I'll see you guys in my next one.